allow anyone coming in a little later to just join us. So Ben, glad you made it. Glad you're here. So just a couple intro slides. This event, as most of you may know, is brought to you by the National American Indian Alaska Native Addiction Technology Transfer Center, which is located at the University of Iowa. We are part of a larger ATTC or TTC network with 10 regional offices all over the country, as well as a National Hispanic Latino ATTC office and a central coordinating office at the University of Missouri. This project is supported and funded by SAMHSA. The content is developed by the presenter, and the opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of SAMHSA HHS or the American Indian Alaska Native ATTC. This is a group effort across our departments. So we have input and representation from the addictions, mental health, and prevention departments at our national center. The following today's event, we'll send out a follow-up email to all of you, which may include links or PDF versions of the slides today. We'll have a recording available of this webinar posted on our YouTube website, and there'll also be CEUs available by request when you receive your follow-up email. We also have a short survey that we would really appreciate you completing. I'll put a link to that survey in the chat box today before the conclusion of today's session, but you'll have another opportunity to complete that short survey in the follow-up email. The survey is important to our center and to our funders. It ensures that we're able to continue to provide events such as this to you. Your participation, however, is voluntary. You don't have to complete the survey. You can skip any questions you would like to, you don't feel like comfortable answering, and all your responses are kept confidential and cannot be linked to you in any way. If you have any questions about this survey, please reach out to Megan Dotson or myself here at the center, and we're happy to answer any questions you have about that short survey. Although we are gathered here, although we are gathered here virtually today, we want to take a few moments to acknowledge the land and pay respect to the indigenous nations whose homelands were forcibly taken and inhabited. Please take a moment to read this land acknowledgement, which was created by 3 members of our team, Ella and Keely Driscoll, and our co-director, Mr. Sean Baer. Thank you. Well, without further ado, I want to turn the floor over to our speaker today. Kathy Tomlin has been providing mental health and addictions treatment services since 1974. She's served a number of different roles within that discipline. The rumor has it is that she is now semi-retired. We're keeping her busy anyway, but she is committed to sharing her experiences and knowledge with the Native American and Alaskan Native communities. Her career, as I mentioned, is focused on the development of supervision and training practices to support professional development of evidence-based practices. And of those best practices is the teaching and supervision of motivational interviewing. She is a member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and she also has some Irish heritage in her family. She is broadcasting to us from the Portland area, and we're really happy to have her with us today. I turn the floor over now to my colleague and friend, Dr. Kathy Tomlin. You all are muted right now. We'll have opportunities for you to unmute and be part of the dialogue today, But if you do have some questions or comments, you can also utilize the chat box in the Zoom program. So we'll kind of keep an eye on those and look forward to hearing from you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I want to turn the floor over to Kathy. Kathy, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Stephen and Megan, and welcome everybody. It's nice to see some familiar names, not so much familiar faces because I can't see you yet, but turn on your cameras when you can, especially if you're speaking, or let us know if there's an issue where you can't, so I kind of know what's happening. So booster sessions, just to kind of give you a context, are designed to help you develop your skills and move your practice along in a good way to make sure that you're being effective with the practice that you're trying to master. So it's kind of you're beyond the essentially beyond the basics, and you can tailor I call them booster sessions, but they're basically support sessions for people who are trying to implement or perfect or improve their motivational interviewing skills. So that's the purpose of them. Another way to think about it is supervision. However, because ethically I'm not your clinical supervision, I call them learning sessions or booster sessions. And if you happen to have a supervisor who can help you develop these tools, that's even better. So the first thing to get us organized is to just check in with you. And if each one of you would take a moment and think about what brought you here this morning, or this afternoon, depending on where you live. What is it that's important for you today to leave with in terms of improving your skills, getting some review, clarifying a concept or two, doing some practice with each other? That will guide the rest of our time together today. So to save time, I'm just going to use this strategy that somebody taught me, what's called popcorn. It works okay on a Zoom format, but I apologize to you if you get popcorned and you're not ready to speak. You can popcorn in or popcorn out to your comfort level. But it would be helpful for me to know what's important to you today, and how can I use my knowledge and skills to support you in your practice. And as you do that, I'm going to do a whiteboard. A whiteboard on Zoom is just a way to keep track of information. So and it's also a way for all of you to see what people are saying. I'm going to type what you say on the whiteboard as somewhat of a guide for us as we go through the time. So I'm going to open it up and invite who would like to get us started. And then you can popcorn to another person, and they can popcorn in or out if they're not ready. And then we'll go from there. So I'll just leave it open right now for someone to get us started.
Hi, this is Ben. I can start.
Hi, Ben.
Hi. So I appreciate the opportunity for this refresher class. And as someone who is new to motivational interviewing, I was a little confused at the beginning of our earlier classes. So for me, I think if you could model a motivational interview approach for us to get us like a refresher. And then if we could also have time to practice behavior later, that would be
perfect. Great. Perfect. Yeah, that would be a good use of our time. That's helpful.
Hi, Kathyleen.
Hi.
And hello to everyone. And what I thought the reason why I signed up for this is because we have a lot of stress going on, whether it's work, personal, but the pandemic is like a cloud over everything. And
Mhm.
so the more I learn how to manage my mental health, the better for me and my work and my family. And I've taken your other courses, which helped me understand that motivational interviewing is being sincere in any discussion that pertains to your job, whether it's with a coworker or with a client. So, but yes, any refresher how to manage good mental health is why I am here.
Perfect. Thank you. And we can do a role play with that in mind, Jean. Using MI. And if anyone wants to echo someone's response, that's fine too.
This is
Who-
Kelly.
Who is it?
Kelly.
Kara? Oh, Kelly. And
Kelly.
is it? Yeah, is it? Okay. Kell. Sorry.
YN.
IN or EN?
YN.
YN. There we go. Kellen, welcome.
I'm mostly just looking for a review on MI. Just a refresher mostly. I will popcorn it to Lavelle.
Lavelle. Did I spell your name right, Lavelle? Oops. Come back.
Oh, I'll
Okay.
popcorn it to Treva then.
Yeah, that's fine. Treva? Did I spell your name right, Treva?
Okay, whoever is available right now.
That's right. That's right. That's fine. Oh dear, I lost my. Well, the other thing is, it might be helpful for us. Oh, geez, I'm gonna have to start this over. It might be helpful for us to know if people are not ready to respond. Just to let us know by doing a pass, so we can move forward. But I do see Kara.
Treva says she can't unmute.
Oh no. Well, maybe Steve can work with her in the chat box on that one. Okay, I see Kara. Are you ready, Kara?
Yeah, I was gonna say much of what Kellen said, just a refresher. The main points,
Okay.
the main points to remember, and just how it all flows together.
Okay. Sounds good, Kara. Who would like to go next? Treva, if you're ready, Steve is going to help you with your mute. Okay. Is Treva ready?
Steve, were you able to get her unmuted?
I just reached out to her in the chat. So Treva, check your chat. I have a couple suggestions. You may just need to synchronize your your audio in your Zoom settings. So I will. It's not allowing. Okay. If you have a mic, you do have a mic. So I'll send you some instructions in the chat. Watch for them. Okay.
Now, just as a comment, thanks for helping, Treva, by the way. It's a comment that a lot of times when people come for refreshers or to a session like this, they also like to practice, and that would be done in a sensitive way. So, and usually it's done in pairs or no triads or dyads. So, if there's enough interest in a practice session, let me know so that I can make sure we have enough time to do that. Okay, I don't want to lose more time, but if anyone else wants to throw out a random thought in the chat box.
I would be interested in a practice session.
Okay.
I heard what Ben said earlier.
Okay, well, we'll put a little, I can't do it on the whiteboard yet, but we'll put a little check mark there. And hello, Ash, I just wanted to say hi. I remember you from our recent training. Hello. I remember most of you, frankly, but I know there's some people I haven't met. Okay, so with going, gone, if there's nothing that people feel isn't representing what they would want on the whiteboard, just send us a note in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll go with what people have offered on the whiteboard. So to organize our time, the way I'm gonna do a review is to show you something that's a little bit new. I didn't go over it in the training. I kind of alluded to it. If you went to my training, if you didn't go to my training, this might also be helpful. Then and then just feel free to interact with the information and with each other in terms of how you would evaluate yourself, how you think about where you're at in your learning curve, etc. Then we'll move on to a demonstration. I guess Steve and I could demonstrate, or if Jean feels comfortable, we could demonstrate with Jean a mental health issue related to the stress and the issues that people are encountering with the cloud of the pandemic. And then please let us know if there's a point that you want us to cover that I'm not covering, because I can integrate that into whatever we do. And then we'll do a practice session. So that could take up our time. Oh, I love your dog, Ash. The big ears. It reminds me of my corgi that I used to have. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to, okay, so a lot of people want a refresher. So the question that I would have is, what would you want a refresher on? Because there's so many different things that you could want as a refresher. So the way that I'm going to offer this to you is to share with you, and I'll send this to you. I didn't send it prior, but I'll send it to you post this meeting. I'll send you what are the essential learning tasks for you to improve your skills or master your skills or feel more confident in using a motivational interviewing approach. So that's what I'm going to share with you. Now, as I share it, please put in the chat box where you think what's one area you feel like you've got it, I've mastered it, and one area where you'd like to grow. So that gives us a little bit more direction on what kind of refresher we want. So I'm going to show you that as soon as I find it. Here it is. I'm going to try to enlarge it so you can see it better, a little bit better. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the tasks right here. Now, what I've done, so if you happen to have a copy of the 3rd edition of MI, I actually put the chapters that these particular skills are covered in the book. Okay. So as it indicates, these are actually in no particular order. However, with that said, I've highlighted the red area is what I consider to be the essential skills that you must have in order to feel like you're making progress using this approach. So, and in Indian country, in Indian value systems, in Indian culture, the spirit of MI is more of an attitude. It's more of a way of thinking about what I'm doing before I do it. It's sort of part of who I am inside. And when you have that as defined in this particular practice, partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evocation, then doing the skills and the tools and the strategies of MI becomes very much easier. So the way, and for some of you who came to a recent training, the way that I addressed that was by talking to you about a person. It was a spirituality exercise around a person that meant something to you, that helped you to grow and be a person that you wanted to become, or somebody who validated you, somebody who acknowledged you. And so we had that, I spent quite a bit of time on this particular topic, because in my experience, if you don't have it inside, it's harder to do the other skills. I also spent a lot of time talking about the feeling comfortable and being able to reflect in an empathic way. So it's really sharing empathy in a certain kind of way that helps a person motivate them towards wanting to change a particular behavior. And so I spent a lot of time on that. We call that reflective listening. It could be called something else, but it's really, how do I listen? So am I listening in a way that engages a person and helps them to identify their change goals, and then helps motivate them to resolve their ambivalence enough to be able to move forward to making small baby steps, or maybe even making a large step towards actually doing the change that they need to do to improve the quality of their life. We also have the ORs. We did a lot of ORs practice, how to identify change goals, when is a good time for me to offer my wisdom, my advice, and within that spirit and style of MI, how to acknowledge and recognize, sustain, and change talk, which I believe is more of an advanced skill set in this practice. Once I have the basic spirit style, the ORs, and particularly reflective listening, it kind of flows from you. Evoking change talk, how to respond that does not increase resistance, otherwise known as ambivalence. So we spent some time talking about ambivalence. One thing that when I was learning MI, and I really wanted to learn how to develop hope and confidence with someone, and a lot of times I was working with people who were feeling hopeless. So to me, I wanted to understand the concept of hope, not in a superficial way, but in a real way, where a person could feel hopeful as a result of working with me when they don't feel hopeful, when they don't feel confident, when they don't feel like there's much of a future. So chapter 16 in that text works well with that. And that takes time, honestly. It takes time so that when you're doing an MI practice, you're not just saying, oh, it's okay, it's all going to be fine. I mean, that's our tendency as human beings, is we want to nurture, we want to soothe, we want to support somebody. But developing internal helping someone develop an internal sense of hope and confidence is different than acknowledging, although, you know, affirming somebody is always nice, but it doesn't necessarily equate to an internal belief system. How to do a change plan, how to strengthen commitment, and how do you use MI, which frankly, I use MI often with other tools, with other practices, such as cognitive behavioral therapy or trauma-informed care. How do you blend those? Once you get really confident in your MI skills, it comes naturally. So those are the skills. And I think that it's fair for you to just focus. If you were to use this as a template for you, where do you think you're at in this process of learning? What do you think you're really good at? And again, they're not in any order. Where do you think, what intrigues you? What piques your interest when I went over this list? And what would help you to grow personally and professionally? So just take a moment and let us know where you think you're at, and just put a comment in the chat box so for us to collectively as a group look at. And you can use this language in terms of where you think you're at. So I'm going to go to the chat box. Maybe. Maybe I'm going to the chat box. Or Steve and Megan, if you're there, you can tell me what people are saying, because I'm not sure if I know how to go to the chat box when I have something up.
No one has put anything in as of right now.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a while to think about these things.
Kathy, you should be able to bring your chat box up by.
Oh, there. Yeah. Okay. There it is. Yeah, it was hidden.
Yeah, it stays hidden, but once you activate it, it'll.
Oh, okay. Okay, so evocation. Yeah, how do we use evocation? That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, that word evocation, that's a tough word. I always find it as a tough word, but I'll, when we do the role play. Yeah, Kellen. So Kellen feels comfortable with her skills, but integrating it with other practices. Okay. The best integration, and there's research and publications on this, is integrating it with something like a cognitive behavioral therapy, and also any of your trauma-informed practices is also effective with this. Okay, hope and confidence with a lot of setbacks. That's what happens, yeah. Especially if you think about, I don't know about you, but with the pandemic, you know, you just feel like you're moving forward, and then boom, you get slapped back, and it's hard, I think. Is this, just curious, is this information new to people? Have people seen a list like this before? Housing and employment, yeah, those are tough. Here in Oregon, we have a huge homelessness problem. Employment's hard right now too because of the pandemic. Anything else?
If you'd like to unmute too and just comment, that's another way we can do this. you're more
Yeah.
comfortable just saying something.
Okay, yeah, I'm reading it and I'm listening. But yeah, feel free to unmute and have a discussion about it. I'm writing this down too. So far, it sounds like people's skills are, for those who've responded, either in writing or if you want to do it verbally, people are feeling comfortable with their skills. Okay. Anybody else? All right. I'm going to, if you want a copy of this, it's a one-page document. If you want a copy of this handout, let us know. Let us know if you want us to share this with you after we're done. Okay. All right. So I've heard from Kellen, Jean, Ben, Kara, Sabrina, Lavelle. Which one was having trouble with their mic? Whoever was having trouble with your mic, I hope it's repaired.
Yeah, I think it was Trivia. I think we're just going to stick with the chat where we weren't able to
Okay.
resolve it. I'm not
Okay.
sure. but
Okay.
She was going to just utilize the chat, and I apologize for that.
Okay. All right, so I want to give some airtime to Sabrina if she wants to say something to Patty. I do see Trivia's comment, so thank you. Patty, I got a comment from Sabrina and Lavelle. Okay, good.
I'm a little fresh to MI,
Oh, okay.
so this is all new information to me, and I'm just kind of soaking it all in and reading everyone's comments.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't have very much.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. Patty or Lavelle, any comments you want to make right now? I don't want anyone to feel left out.
Sorry, about what?
Any thoughts you're having right now? Anything you want to say before I move on to something else?
No, sorry. I kind of mentally checked out. Sorry to bring this up now. I mentally checked out in the beginning after you guys did the land acknowledgement, but you didn't really do a land acknowledgement. You didn't read it. You didn't, it felt like a false acknowledgement. I'm sorry to say. It felt like the indigenous people were glossed over, and it just feels like how we've always been treated. So I mentally checked out because you didn't even take time or effort to read that. And I'm tired of feeling that way. So I mentally checked out, and I don't feel like I want to participate.
I'm sad right now that
I am too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sad about that. And I do apologize to you for that.
Yeah, it's just been happening so much in trainings lately. And
Yeah.
Patty,
Sorry.
thank you for sharing that information and feedback. And yes, I'll send you that email. I see your message to me.
Oh, that's okay. I just said what I was feeling. I didn't want to interrupt the training. I'm just,
Well, it's
I have high emotions about it right now because everything is so, I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. I think what happens a lot of times and how you're experiencing this is something we should take into consideration, A, and B, when we send out the PowerPoints and the handouts and stuff, it's in there. And so we feel like, oh, okay, people are looking at it because we asked them to read it. So we don't read it out loud. So that's on us. But
Yeah,
if
that's not the point of the land
Mhm.
acknowledgement or acknowledging the struggle that Indigenous people face every day, because it's still happening every single day. And this is one example. It seems like every other struggling or oppressed population is in the media
Mhm.
24/7, and they get their apologies and they get their acceptance, and the Indigenous people of this world do not. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm over obsessing or over. I know this is minor. It's so minor, but I'm just tired of it. And
Well, it's really not
I
minor.
feel like I don't exist. I know I exist. I know we're important.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nobody understands. We were here before everybody else. We
Yeah.
deserve acknowledgement. I'm sorry. I have to check out of this training now. I'm sorry.
Well, before you do, if you would indulge us for a minute, I'd like to, number one, I want to acknowledge your feelings, and I'm feeling them. So I'm feeling really sad, and I feel your hurt. And I also think you're giving us a good message, and I want to honor that. I would like for you to stay, Patty, and I will respect your boundaries to just hang out with us. But I don't want you to leave. I'm going to just be honest. I don't want you to leave. I want you to be present with us, even if you don't participate.
Okay, I'll stay. And
Thank you.
I'm sorry for interrupting. That was just how I'm feeling. I'm just tired of feeling that way.
Yeah. Well, I understand, and I want to honor. I want to honor you. That's all I can say.
Okay.
I think you have some support here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to keep, talking about it. I just
Sure.
want to
Sure.
make my
Sure.
feelings.
Yeah. Well, thank you for staying. I would worry about you for a long time if you didn't stay, and I value your opinion and your feelings. And because of what you shared, as long as I'm doing something here on this platform, which is always an awkward platform for us, I will make sure that the land acknowledgement gets more airtime than I don't like. Frankly, I don't like having to look at my bio. I think my bio is irrelevant sometimes, but and people do spend more time with that than I think what's really important, which is what you're bringing up. The other thing I might share with all of you is next month we are planning to have a Native American Heritage care and share, and I'm hoping that those of you can come and share your stories to honor our heritage. So please be aware that we constantly are trying to acknowledge you, engage you, listen to you, learn from you in anything that we do here. And doing this on a Zoom platform is just, it's crazy. It's really hard. But thank you. Thank you for staying, and thank you for getting us in touch with what's important. So I would, to honor your request, I'll move on to Lavelle and see if there's anything she would like to say. I think that's the only person we haven't heard from, unless we've heard from her in the chat box. And I have to look. Lavelle, are you there and can you hear us?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm here.
Hi. Is there anything you'd like to add in terms of our discussion with MI or anything else?
No, I'm just taking in all that whatever information is given to me so I could utilize it within my work field.
Okay. And what is your work field?
I'm a support navigator with the COI program.
Oh, okay. Support navigator. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so I'd like to move into the role play and discuss the mental, this is, we're talking about stress and mental health. And where did Jean go? Did Jean go somewhere? I saw her and
I
then,
don't see her anymore. I think she might have stepped off.
okay. Okay, thank you, Sabrina. Okay, well, I don't know. Can we contact her and see where she is? And if she can come back? Can somebody
You're talking
email her?
Jean?
Yeah, because I saw she was trying to connect to her audio. And so I'm thinking maybe her
Yeah, I don't
system,
know.
her system went down or something.
think
I'm
she'll
hesitant to go
try.
forward because I wanted to demonstrate using her request.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't have her emailed. Steve, do you happen to have it? I don't.
I can see if we can get it off the registration.
Thanks for doing that. Yes, if we could contact her, I'm going to start. And is there somebody in the audience in our group that wants to be the person that works with me so I can demonstrate am I with what her request was mental health and stress? Because if she can happen to come back, we'll be working on that. Anyone feel confident or comfortable enough to do that? Ben, you just appeared. Visually.
I was
Are you
having trouble with my camera earlier. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I think we only have an hour left, so if nobody, or a little over, if nobody else feels comfortable going, I can share. I don't know if it's really appropriate for motivational interviewing, but one of the things I'm working through right now is I have my elder sister and I are pretty estranged, but she's kind of in a time of crisis, so she's been staying with me for the past 10 days, and she's older and has what seems to be dementia. So so we're trying to do things for her medically and logistically, and also trying to figure out boundaries and what we can do so that we don't get burned out in the process. So I don't really know if motivational interviewing fits into this kind of scenario, but it's really the only thing that I can think of personally to talk about.
Well, I think the first thing, and this is part of how you would think using an MI approach, is what is it what's the specific thing that would be helpful to address in terms of, you mentioned boundaries, and is there more than one person involved with managing her care, or?
So myself and my girlfriend, my life partner, is very supportive and helpful.
Okay, so part of what you're trying to figure out is how to have appropriate, and it sounds like sensitive boundaries with her as you're housing her and getting to know her in a way that might be very different than what you're used to, it sounds like, with dementia issues. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're feeling stressed, I imagine. And are you, just a little bit of background, are you sure that she has dementia, or you're not sure that she has dementia?
So it's never been diagnosed, and I only heard that term 10 days ago. But yes, there's definitely communication issues and memory issues. Yeah.
Okay. So where shall we, so let's use that. And this is real for you, right? This is not contrived or anything. So this is real. So I want to respect that about you, that this is a real thing going on. And if any time in our conversation you get uncomfortable or you don't want to, go beyond a certain point, just let us know. Is that acceptable to you? Okay. So one of the requests is, how do I demonstrate this? And then later, a practice session. Yeah, it's not a role play. So I wanted to give you some permission to just say, okay, that's enough if that's what happens. So let's just start with, so the first thing I would do in an MI approach to this is do what I just did, is what is it that people are concerned about? What is it that people are viewing as somewhat of an unresolved approach to X, Y, or Z behavior? And for you, and so that was my intro into doing something, because to do an MI approach, I have to have a clear path, a clear, what am I trying to accomplish? So so that helps me with what I can do. It also provides that focus, so that if we get off focus or we go somewhere else, that then I start processing, well, where's the focus really? What's important really? So the question is, well, what is important? And then we have a little bit of a chat about that. Try to identify a starting point. And then just my intro into this is, well, where should we go? What would be helpful for us to discuss this? And as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about, what do I do if I were you? What do I do with someone who I really don't know? This almost sounds like you would like to have known her better, but I really don't know her, and and she appears to be in a different state cognitively. And then what do I do to help her? What's my role in trying to help her? And then what kind of stress are you having related to that? So I'd like to kind of get us going, starting there. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I stop to think about the future, it feels overwhelming to me. Right now, we're just prioritizing and trying to get her diagnosis, those kind of things. And I guess maybe I'm already, when I think about the possible future, if she needs to live in a memory care facility or something like that, I guess I'm also feeling like I would feel guilty if I don't see how I could sustain this level of care. And I'm afraid there wouldn't be resources for home health aid, things like that to help. So maybe I'm also feeling guilty about a possible future that where I just feel like she wouldn't be as happy or as well taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah. So part of what you're dealing with is, well, there's layers to it, but that feeling of guilt, that's pretty strong right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good in short-term crises, but we're feeling kind of exhausted right now, and so
Yeah.
we're trying to see what possible resources there are, but I'm worried about there's no there doesn't seem to be like any great options presenting themselves so far. So we'll continue to try to look for those. But yeah, I guess I do feel guilty because part of me, if I was thinking about this as trying to do this as a behavioral change thing, it's like, I don't think I'm that selfless or that good of a person to be a full-time caregiver in addition to our normal lives. And I don't think that's sustainable anyway, but yeah. And again, hopefully it won't get to that point, but yeah, it's just a lot. So
yeah, well, that's what I was thinking is, and you're thinking about it. You're thinking about all those things as you try to figure out in a short term what the next step is, to, what your plan is. And it sounds like you have a plan, a short-term plan, which is to figure out, well, what is the diagnosis? Is there a diagnosis? And if so, what does that mean? While you're also maybe projecting ahead a little bit, like, what do I do if ... in terms of resources available to you in your community, as well as just maybe feeling some sadness about the whole situation in general. Yeah.
yes, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
And then your girlfriend is also, sounds like she's a significant part of this, that she's in this with you. So you're not alone, but it is your sister, right?
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a feeling of responsibility there as a sibling. So when you first mentioned it, you were talking about boundaries, and I'm curious, when you said that word boundaries, is it that I'm still trying to figure out what my options are so that I know what my boundaries are? Could you just, or is it something else? Could you just tell us a little bit more about when you think about boundaries, what is it that you're thinking?
Sorry, this is not a great topic for a short example of motivational interviewing, probably. So her husband is part of the reason why I'm estranged from my sister, and he fell and had surgery, and he's going to be in like a somewhat of a long-term rehabilitation, we believe.
Yeah.
So he would have been the primary caregiver who never used the term dementia until he wanted someone to take care of her since he was in the hospital. So my primary boundary that I've established already is that I'm not doing anything for the husband. That's up to him. So my focus is my sister, and that's been an easy boundary to set for me. And now I'm also trying to think about so we had a visit with some members of her church, and I didn't even think about it at the time, but luckily they were both vaccinated because I don't want to get sick. I don't want my sister to get sick on top of everything else. We're all vaccinated. So I'm thinking about that as another boundary where she can visit with members of her church. I think that would be good for her, but I need to know that they're vaccinated before they spend time with her or they enter the house. And then we're also, talking to my sister about, she's been really good about bedtimes and stuff like that, but just making sure that, as long as she's mentally able, that we can get a good night's sleep and have separation, a little bit of downtime. So just those kind of things that as they come up, those are the kind of boundaries that we're thinking about so far.
That's a pretty good list, don't you think? Yeah, that takes a lot of thinking, right? So I think that's a great list. That's actually a list of things that you can do beyond the initial. It sounds like it was well thought out, and you're actually already acting on those boundaries. Yeah. So what appears to me that you're really struggling with are the emotional experiences of dealing with some past and also current and also a little bit of the future. So you've got a lot of emotions depending on what's going on. When you reflect on the past, particularly with your brother-in-law, your boundaries are really clear. You communicated those very clearly. When you think about the present, it's really with your sister, it's really, have I covered all my boundaries? Have I thought of everything I need to think about in the moment that would protect her and protect you and your partner, and how to negotiate those. And I'm sure situations will come up that you haven't thought about then, but it sounds like you have really good thinking skills and have done a thorough job of thinking about that. And then the future is still to be determined. Like, I don't know what the future holds here. And that depends on what's available. That depends on your comfort level. That depends on how you're feeling, because your feelings might change depending on what's happening currently. And they might change if the husband decides to exert some power or control into the situation, which would create another set of feelings or worries. So I am imagining that what's happening is you're not sure if you should feel okay about this, but where you're at and what you've been doing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've been doing the right thing and doing the best we can. And ideally, I'm afraid it may not happen, but ideally, to be honest, the husband would recover and, so they could go back to their life, but with some improvement in her situation, because at least now some members of the church are aware, or they have a neighbor that's a little bit aware of their former living situation that has some influence with the husband and the wife. And then I don't really think the church members will help much, but we're trying to just kind of show them the home environment, and basically just shine a light on kind of what's going on with them and what their life was like before, where the husband would not allow that previously. So for me, like, best case scenario is he recovers, she goes back to him where she has chosen to be, and then because there's a little bit more knowledge around the living situation, that would cause some change in him and some improvement with her. And then he would get some kind of plan in place in case something like this happens again, which is another level of challenge as far as power of attorney and all that kind of stuff. So
things that you don't really have full control over. And then
not to be involved with, if at
okay.
all possible.
yeah. It's a lot to ask. It is a lot to ask. So, and then the kind of the leftover of all of this is, assuming things go that way, is what kind of relationship will you have with her now that you've had a relationship with her, and what you think or how you might feel about that, should the husband want to return to the normal situation. I think you mentioned the church people. So I'm wondering if you're feeling satisfied, I guess, or glad or happy that you've had a role to play in terms of shining that light on the situation, even though you're not going to be able necessarily to be the constant light, shining on it.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to try and do.
Mhm.
With the neighbor, I think that there's a really good chance that the elder neighbor will be influential and provide some help. They hosted my sister for dinner one night, which is great for her. And but with the two church members that we met, they just, I don't know if they're just of a different generation or what it is, but they just don't seem to see. So, but we'll see. I mean, at least we can try. And so, yeah, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a few times. I think this is the right thing to do, and that seems to provide you with a lot of comfort.
Yeah, one thing that I mentioned to my sister is that I think our parents would be happy to see that we're there for each other, and there's no one else for her. So at the moment, so yeah.
I think if I were in your situation, I might feel some sense of happiness with that, even though it's not necessarily a happy scenario. But you've been given an opportunity to reconnect in a way to be helpful. I would imagine and also, shining a light, establishing healthy boundaries, basically being there for her, even though she's not fully cognitively present all the time.
Yeah,
It's kind of a gift in a way.
yeah, I agree. It is. Yeah, there are times when we can definitely connect a bit. There are times when she'll remind me of something about my parents, just in her actions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she's 14 years older than me. She took care of me a lot when I was a child. So to give back to her as well.
Did you view her as a mother figure, or always as your older sister?
Yeah, because she was the oldest, she had some of those responsibilities to take care of the younger, of myself and my sister, So yeah, there was some of that for sure.
Okay. Well, I want to summarize what I've heard you say, and I want you to correct or add to if there's something important that I missed to you. So we began this conversation talking about, well, first it was about boundaries, and then it moved into the emotions you're experiencing related to her care. And then it moved on to clarity about boundaries, and then it moved on to where we're at right now. So my summary would be that you're experiencing some guilt and some sadness related to the situation. And you're looking at options to help with the situation. You've set some pretty firm boundaries with situations that you don't want to get involved with, i.e. the husband. You're feeling hopeful that that if she could return to her life, even with the scenario that you've painted about the situation, that there was a light shown on the situation, so that you and perhaps other people around your sister and a husband can pay more attention to what's happening there. You're also doing things like getting a diagnosis, so that getting it documented in her medical record, so that people know what they're dealing with, including the husband, even if he doesn't want to pay attention to it. But it's there documented in the medical record, and trying to find some support, not only for your sister, but also really support for yourself and your partner as you negotiate this situation right now. What else was important to you that I may have forgotten?
No, I think that's good. I guess just when I stop to think about it, it's a little overwhelming. So I'm
Yes.
trying to kind of compartmentalize and just think about today and what's the next step. And then, also part of getting the diagnosis is the hope that maybe something can help, right? Maybe there's some medication, or maybe something in, with better nutrition. Not that it's going to drastically change things, but at least if doctors are aware and are finding out more about her and exactly where she's at, then at least there's a chance, as opposed to, I don't think she's been to the doctor for years prior to this. So I do have some hope about that, and happy that she's okay with doing this. She's in good spirits, and she's going to the doctor appointments with me and things like that. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you personally feel that satisfaction with what you're doing, because you're doing a lot, and I appreciate the word overwhelming. That's a lot that you're doing, because you're not only taking her to appointments, getting the diagnosis, processing everything on a medical level that you can. You're also in a primary relationship. You have a job, you have your own life that you have to attend to while you're doing this other stuff. And I'm wondering if you did a mental health check on yourself, how you're feeling about how you're doing.
Yeah, I don't think, the way I'm feeling right now, I don't feel it's sustainable, but I don't really see any other option at this point. So, I'm hoping that we're doing all the right things now, so that we will have more options in the future, either from her insurance or other possible services that can help with her care. But it definitely does not feel sustainable, this level of time. And
yeah, so your way of getting through it is thinking short term. I have to do this, and this, and that, kind of a one time only, in order for things to kind of settle down and it to be more sustainable, not only for you and your partner, but for the whole situation. And so do you have like a checklist? How do you determine when you're making progress with that? How do you know when you've reached that goal?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So we know the medical and the insurance, that's going to take a while, but we're checking back with the insurance to see if they've, so I guess it's kind of like I have a notebook where I'm just trying to take notes, very unorganized, but trying to take notes. And then we've been encouraged by some social workers that we've met with on maybe the right questions to ask. Yeah, so we're just kind of taking it day by day. And then when I talk with my sister, and maybe at the end of the day, and we're both very tired, or if there's a stressful interaction, like when she met with a neurologist yesterday, we just try to, I just try to remind her that we're doing positive things every day, and we're doing exactly what we should be doing, and we're taking the steps. So I just look at it like that. Like I like you said, I think there's so many things that I don't even know at this point, that I don't feel like I can have like a 10-point checklist that I could then break down into smaller steps on how to get there. I'm basically just saying, okay, this is what we know we need to do today. We need to make a doctor appointment for next week. We need to check on the lab results.
Right.
We need to see if you can meet with a church member, but that's kind of just whatever occurs that day or whenever we get some new information to follow up on.
So your focus is really on her, and what are the steps each day that would be helpful for her?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of summarized it well, where it's medical diagnosis, it's possible social worker, case manager, if we can find someone like that to help guide her and her husband as well in the future. And then, yeah, I mean, just getting certain logistical things in place for her in the meantime to try to get her some help and understanding.
Mhm. So I'm going to ask you a question about you. Would that be okay right now?
Yeah, I don't want to like take up the whole meeting time, so I'm sensitive to that. I want other people to be able to share.
Yeah, sure.
But yes,
I'm watching the clock, but this is important because it's real and you offered it to us to learn from. So this is kind of to wrap this up a little bit, but I'm wondering what you do, maybe even on as like parallel, maybe even on a daily basis, where your focus is on her, what you do, and your partner, where your focus could also be on collectively the two of you or whoever else is involved as well. Not necessarily that you may want or need the same level of focus, but because you've got your focus, it does take up a lot of time. But what else can you do for your own mental health and stress levels as they fluctuate day to day? Or is that even important to you?
no, I think that's a very good point, especially when I think about, how to sustain this assistance. My sister gets antsy and likes to go for walks, short walks a couple times a day. So that's good for me. I really like to walk. And so that's been good for us to do. My work is very supportive and understanding. So that's great. For me and my girlfriend, there's a little bit of time at night to kind of watch TV or watch a movie and wind down, just the two of us, but she's in school, so she's mostly reading and studying during that time. So that is something that is good to bring up, and I will try to figure out how we might carve out some together time.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're missing that, but there are things that are helping in your stress levels, but you're also missing some things that are important to you, like connection with your girlfriend. And you just said, I will connect with her and talk to her about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just making the time for that, and then
Yeah, when you're tired and exhausted, it's hard to do. And what you're just in this moment right now, you're acknowledging that it might be a good thing to do. Yeah. Anything else that aside from what you're already you are doing things, but it may not be balanced enough.
yeah. There's not a whole lot of balance right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you giving me the time and just talking about it, and helping me think through it without any kind of like judgment or that's very helpful. So I appreciate you modeling that and helping me with that.
Well, that's we'll stop our conversation now if this is a good time to stop. But I want to go back to you with some distance and then think, okay, what was helpful in our interaction? Because that was one of your learning goals, was demonstration, modeling, and then we still have time for a practice session. So what's your takeaway from our time together, our conversations together?
Just talking about it is helpful, and the way that you're able to summarize and ask questions, but also leave a lot of space for me to talk, kind of opens me up to saying more things or sharing more things. So that's something I would like to model, is not, or what something I want to improve on is when I speak to someone in that capacity, not really mentioning anything about my experience, but just trying to like give them the space and the encouragement to share more of their experience and more of what's troubling them. And at the beginning, I felt more guarded. I wanted to try to make it like even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to talk about, I wanted to make it more of a tidy package that could be, you know, a quick, we could do like a 5-minute modeling and then move on. But, you know, based on your questions and your technique, I feel like it allowed me to kind of get a little deeper into what's going on and more comfortable talking about it.
Okay.
That was helpful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing a part of your life with us today in that role play. And I want to end your summary of what you thought was helpful. I do want to share with you that I had that experience with my mother. There was a part of me that was like, keep your mouth shut, don't talk about you. So it was not necessarily an easy thing, because I've been through a similar situation. My mother has subsequently passed away, but she lived with me for 2 years with an early stage form of dementia. And so I had a lot of empathy for what you were going through, particularly how stressful it can be. Yeah, so it was hard for me to not want to, oh yeah, I've been there too, you know. It was hard for me not to chime in there. But thank you for that feedback, because I didn't always feel like it was running smoothly for me, but I appreciate your feedback that eventually got there. And that's what happens to us when we're doing this kind of practice, is sometimes what people are telling us we've been through, or we're currently going through it. And there's a part of us that just wants to go off and just share, kind of in a supportive way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're that helpful in terms of helping people towards a change goal. So it took me a while to understand what the change goal is. It's not about boundaries. It's not necessarily about guilt. It's about self-care. It's about what really will make a difference for you is self-care. And how am I doing? And am I giving that enough focus? And if I'm not, like raise the awareness is like, I'm aware that I'm not going to be able to get a balance there, but I also am aware that I need to make some change there where it feels better to me on a personal level with your partner. It took us a little bit of time, but it does work, and it's less than a half an hour. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go back to our group and give you guys some time to react. I noticed that Ash liked one of the questions that I asked, and that I noted when you asked that or made that comment, Ash, that it was when I got to what was really important was the mental health and stress level question. I made a note of that, but that was an open-ended question. And then I tried to model a minimum of 2 reflections for every question that I asked, or to ask permission to do a summary, which is part S of the ORs. I tried to model those type of skills when there was some change talk, because there was a lot. that Ben was doing, there was some stuff that was already in motion. And so there, there wasn't a need for me to ask if he had a commitment. He already has a commitment for a lot of things he's doing. It's really more about what's your commitment to yourself, and weaving in the stress related to that situation. So anybody want to chime in at this point? And if particularly if you're learning something new or reinforcing something that you already knew, and already felt like you just saw it being done in a different way, anything like that? I'll just wait for a minute.
Can you hear me?
Sorry.
Can you hear me? This is Kellen.
Hi, Kellen. Yes, I can hear you.
So one of the things that I noticed that I thought was really shows, the experience that you have is waiting for that change talk. A lot of times, you see people try to glob on to things that are like, oh, boundaries, oh, this, and you could end up trying to go in a direction and forcing it. But it was like, I could tell you were kind of searching, and you gave yourself patience to kind of listen and hear like what's really, what's happening here. And so I really applaud you for not feeling like you have to rush to find, where's the change? So that's my observation.
Yes, thank you, Kellen. You can take your time, it doesn't, you don't, I think we're problem solvers, we're kind of driven to be, problem solvers. And it's okay to just take our time with people. In fact, it's actually ideal to just let somebody have time to hear themselves or through another person that you feel is listening to you. So I always tell my clients, and when I have a crisis in my family, which I had a mental health crisis in my family recently where somebody was actually hospitalized. I remember when I was in that situation that it's just being patient and, moment to moment to moment during that crisis. It's listening to what people's experiences are, what they were doing, how they were feeling, which then freed me up to be supportive, but also to help guide the help, provide that help in a guiding way. Yeah. And Kara, Ash, Patty, if you want to say anything, feel free at this time.
Oh, sorry. Ash, go ahead.
Okay. I think it was just really tremendous what you, Kathleen, and Ben did together. I applaud Ben for your vulnerability and willingness to share, and being on your team and like knowing I really felt that you were able to open up to Kathleen and share, and your questioning and taking your time with it really allowed him to do that. And then also I was trying to track the oars, but it felt so natural that like I was more so just like enjoying listening to the conversation back and forth. It didn't feel like very structured. So I think I appreciated just how deep I was able to go, and how the emphasis of self-care at the end, and how that was summarized was really done well.
So okay, thank you very much for that. I applaud you for trying to do the oars, and I want to let you know that is helpful feedback for somebody when they're doing and learning this. So just acknowledge that, that's a good way to know if you're on track or not. Yeah, Patty, you had something you wanted to say.
I'm just really proud of Ben for taking this opportunity to speak to you, because you really helped me when we spoke during our class training, and you really got me to open up about things I didn't even know about in a really helpful way. And I hope that Ben is feeling how I felt when I spoke with you the last time. So, because we work with Ben, and he's real quiet, doesn't tell us a lot about his personal life. We would love to help him, but he's so quiet. So I'm glad he got to speak to you for as long as he did, and hopefully it helped him out. And
Yeah.
you did ask a lot of good questions, especially the one about how it's affecting. I really love that you asked him. Well, first of all, you asked permission if you could ask a personal question. I love that. And it was a great question about how he's holding up under stress, and how his personal life is holding up, which is very important. So
Yeah.
I love it. So
Thank you, Patty. Kellen's mentioning agency. I respect the agency you gave him by asking permission. Yeah. I think sometimes we forget, because we assume in a relationship, but I try to be, I can't admit that I was always that way, but I will admit now that I really try hard to not assume that it's okay to enter into a person's life without them letting me know directly and explicitly that it's okay. So if we were to, and Kara, if you have anything to say, our group, I'm pretty sure our group is open to it, but I don't want to ignore you if you do have something to say. If you don't have anything, that's fine too, but I just wanted to acknowledge you and give you a time to say anything if you wanted to. Hi, Kara.
Okay, Kathy. No, I was just like, I always like to take a step back and just look at the whole process, because conversations can look different with certain situations or certain change talk. But like the whole thing that I guess I always want to try and remember is to not get carried away with like the chaos that it could create in me. Like if I'm empathizing with what Ben is going through, I always want to jump ahead and be like, think that I have to put empathy way before everything else. And that's not always true with everything, because then there would be no structure. There would be no real progress being made in the moment. Like I only have a couple of minutes with this person probably, and I want to make it like meaningful, or I want to make it helpful to them. And I don't want to get caught up in like, in like the support part, just like saying the right word or feeling like I have to say the right words and then just not. And, that could be helpful sometimes, but then what's most helpful is just like, that change talk, that reflecting those questions to get really deep into it and find out like how we can move from A to B or B to C, take little steps. But that's always a reminder I want to keep for myself. It's just, keep like the chaos out of the discussion or the time with us, but also just want to make it like super helpful, with tools, with the questions, with the right questions, with summarizing it. So yeah, that's what I was just thinking about.
Yeah, it's that combination of being empathic, that spirit and style, being empathic, making sure you understand the issue, and then using the strategies to move the process along. It is that combination, absolutely. Yeah, and Steve's mentioning not to worry about giving the perfect advice or solution, but also to remain, I think I'd call it open, open and willing to learn from the other, to learn about the other person from the other person's point of view. Okay. I'd like to do, if we could transition now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of you. So I want to give you some practice time. It'll take about 15 minutes, but because of the time, I want to structure it. And the way I'd like to do it is, and I think you guys have done this maybe in the past, is this taste of MI practice. Because I think part of practicing is just having this opportunity to practice again using the taste of MI. Let me get A, B, C, D, and E up here. And I'll put it in the chat box too. I'm also going to allow you some time to do it privately, but I'm going to pop in and out if anyone has, they want some coaching or anything. So I don't want to make you feel like you're on the spot or anything. So I'll get you started, and then about midway through, I'll pop in and see how you're doing, and then I'll pop back out if there's no issue. Or if you want me to offer any more coaching, I'll pop back in, or I'll stay there with you as a small group. So what we would need is a speaker, a listener, and we'll have 3, well, actually, why don't I divide you into 2 and 3? We have 5 people. I'll divide you into 2 and 3. Unless Steve or Megan wants to join a group, then we'd have 3 and 3. And then I'll have one of you speaker, one of you listener, and one of you observer. And so if you look at enter the conversation by asking, and then go down to here, I'm going to copy that. And I think you've done this exercise before, but it's helpful to revisit it. And I would encourage you to do the real play. So pick something you feel curious or ambivalent about. I would say something you're currently feeling ambivalent about, that you feel comfortable talking about, that you can practice. And I'll put that in the chat box through there. And then, yeah, so let's, is everybody open to doing this practice session? It's pretty structured. I think we can get it done one go round. Okay, great. Thanks, Kellen. Ben's saying, yeah, I'm assuming they're, okay, Steve, do you want to join a group?
I can. I can.
Megan, do you want to join a group? It would really be as an observer.
Go ahead, Steve. I'm gonna make everybody into the 2 breakout rooms.
I've already got the room set up, Meg.
Oh, okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming everybody understands the instructions. Let me know if I need to clarify anything. But you want to identify a speaker and a listener, and the listener is the one doing the practice of MI, and then the third person is just observing how they did with the skill sets with MI. We have a new message. Oh, yeah, thank you, Ash. I would say 7 minutes. So once you set up, you do a 7 minutes, maybe 10-minute practice. I'll pop in 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes into it just to check. Although with Steve in a group, I won't worry. I'll just go to the other group because Steve can probably handle what's happening in his group. So I'll pop into the non-Steve group and then we'll come back around about 5 minutes before the hour and wrap up. Okay.
It doesn't look like I can put myself in a room. So I'm just going to go ahead and open the rooms. I'll see if I can jump in one here in a minute.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll see you in about 3-4 minutes. Well, 5 minutes. Come on. Come on. What's the matter? I know you got to go potty.
Kathy, you're not on mute, just so you know.
Yeah. I've got an anxious dog here, so
Yeah.
I will.
I'll meet you, Kathy. Peg,
Yeah,
I see, looks like Ash and Kara are in room 1. Ben hasn't joined, so I don't know. Ben, are you going to jump into that room 1? Oh, there he goes.
okay.
All right. Now, what we could do is, Kathy, if you wanted to drop into either one of those rooms, it doesn't look like I can assign myself to a room.
No, you and I aren't allowed because we must be the host, co-hosts. I don't know.
Oh, here, I got you muted, Kathy. I muted you while you were taking care of Wabi there.
Can you unhost yourself to join room 2? Especially, yeah, Kellen and Patty. I mean, I guess what are your
Try
thoughts
making-
about it?
Try making me the host if you can. See.
Okay. Oh, no, I have lost my rooms, so go ahead and throw me
Hey,
into
I got you.
room 2.
Yeah.
And then you can throw Kathy into either one of the rooms if you
Well,
want.
I'll come in and out.
Okay.
But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go to your room because I don't think they'll need me with you there. But I will go into the other one.
Okay, so you'll go.
Not right
into-
now, but I'll go into room 1 in about 5 minutes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go take a break.
Sounds good.
I'm going to pop into group room 1, see how they're doing.
Okay.
Okay, that went well. Can we send them a message in about 2 or 3 minutes that, well, 2 minutes, that we're going to pull them back?
Yep.
The practice session that I was in is going well. It's just, I gave her a new thought, so I don't know how long that's going to take for her to finish it. But if we could give them, like, we're going to pull you back in a minute or 30 seconds just to wrap up, note, and then we'll pull them back.
All right.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
Have you guys gone to San Diego yet?
No, next, I leave next Sunday
Ah, okay.
to do the Leadership Academy.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
yeah, should be an exhausting week. I was,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big trip. Yeah.
yeah,
You'll find the time zone change, it might be to your advantage, because you'll be probably thinking it's only 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock and I'm going to bed.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna get there at 6 and then I'm gonna want to wind down for a little bit. But if I wind down till 10, then it's midnight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It'll be a little adjustment.
Yeah,
Time.
yeah. It's harder for me to go east than it is for me to go west, obviously.
Yeah.
Or even mountain time. I don't mind mountain time that much, but when
Yeah,
it gets to be 2-3 hours, it's a little bit more challenging.
definitely. Well, I'm already yawning here and I'm, I'm thinking, woo.
Yeah.
Did you know this only goes until 3, right?
Yeah, I know, I'm cutting it quick.
Okay, I'm gonna pull them back in.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right, they have 60 seconds to come back, so.
Okay. They can keep their practice private. Just kind of summarize and be on our merry way.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't give him a treat and he's upset about it, my dog.
They're so
But,
finicky.
yeah, I will give him a treat after class so he can just wait a few minutes.
Oh.
Hello. Hi, all.
Hello.
The group I dropped in was going really well. And so it looked like it was a fun practice for people. Is that what your experience was? Yeah. Oh, I wish we had some more time to play around with this, but there'll be another opportunity down the road. Just, keep us posted. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for being present with us today, sharing your feelings and thoughts, personal and other MI stuff. And it's so nice to see your faces again, because I've seen all of your faces, and it's always nice to revisit friends from the recent past, or it's been about recent past. So because of the time, and I know you're very busy people, much more busy than I am, I want to respect your time and thank you personally for each one of you for coming, participating, and sharing and learning from each other and from me to learn from you as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Any
you.
final comments? Feel free. Otherwise, I wish you a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again in another event.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thanks to all those that joined us today. I really enjoyed that last session with Kellen and Patty. I wanted to keep going. They were on a roll. So
Yeah.
really did enjoy this. Thank you so much, everybody. Look for our follow-up email. We can make some of these slides available, and we'll also, this event has been recorded, so we'll likely have this recorded and available for later viewing. But Pila Maya, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll cross paths again. And until then,
Well, we may want to check in with people about the recording too, because there was a
Yes.
lot of personal information shared, and we may want to opt to not make it public. If anybody isn't feeling comfortable with that, you should let us know, because I don't want to violate anybody's boundaries there.
Mhm. It's able to be edited too,
yeah,
so
it certainly is. We can
we can
edit out.
ask. for
Well,
that part.
anybody, just let us know, because I don't want to violate that. So people's confidentiality. So
Yeah, good point. Let
Yeah.
us know, Ben, if you want us to edit that out, we can certainly do that. And
Would it just be shared with this group, or?
Yeah, that's what I'm
sharing it
thinking.
with a larger group?
Yeah, I'm thinking just the people involved right here. So I think we should be good since everyone heard it live.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that's fine.
okay.
Thank you.
We won't make it public or anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay,
so-
I'll
good.
do YouTube. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. It'll be, yep, just for you guys. No
All
one else
right.
can have it. So,
All right.
thanks.
Well, also, we had more people sign up than showed, so we want to narrow that registration list down, so it's just for people who showed,
yeah,
not for.
that's fine.
Just for the folks that joined today, I would.
Yeah.
assume.
Yes.
However you guys want to handle the recording. I know typically when we record, we will put that in our archive and make it available through our archive. But if that's something we want to change, that's fine.
Yeah, and could one, Megan or Steve, can you hang on just a bit past when people leave? I'd
Mhm.
check in with you about something.
Sure.
So you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you
Thanks,
for being
everybody.
here.
Thanks all.
Okay. Oh, Chuck.
Bye.
Bye. All
Um,
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll just make it, I'll email Kate right now and say, don't make it public, just for the people that were registered, just for the people that were on today.
yeah, you'll have to
Let's see
tell
who
her
attended.
that. There's some personal stuff that I don't think people would want to have out there in the public.
Yeah. Wow.
Maybe or maybe not, but I don't want to enter into that. So I'm worried about Jean, and if there's a way we can connect with Jean.
Did she say something, or did she just fall off?
Well, right off, she just fell off, and
Mhm.
I want to make sure that she's okay because of the strong feelings that were shared.
Well, and I asked Jeff to send me the registration information, and he never responded. So I don't. Not
Strong
sure.
feelings came from Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a trigger reaction.
Is, okay.
Yeah.
There's a triggering.
I reached out to Jeff to get I could not find the registration list. Jeff, I don't know where that is on the shared drive, but I asked Jeff for it. He just didn't respond.
Well,
Well, I kind of want to personally reach out to her and check in with her because of Patty's comments.
okay. What was her name? Jean, what? I'm gonna put it
I
in.
think it was Gene the dancing machine. No, I honestly can't remember. I would have to go back and look. Let me go back. Let me scroll.
She's the only one though, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene. I'm scrolling back into it was Jean Naomi Manny.
Okay.
And I wonder if she, let me see if just by chance I have her in my.
Oh, I wonder if I do too, if she was on our motivational before.
Yeah.
She was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she was just learning. She's an elder.
No, I do not have her in mind, but maybe
Yeah, I
you
don't
might.
either. I don't.
If I hear back, but when I hear back from Jeff, I will forward you, Kathy, her email. And if you want to reach out to her directly, that's great. I suspect it's a connectivity issue,
Mhm.
or she got pulled away because Sabrina got pulled away at the top of the first hour.
Sabrina told us that she had another meeting.
Yeah.
in the chat box, so I knew what was happening with her. But when Jean fell off, I didn't know what was going on there, and it was an emotional time.
Yes.
So,
Well, we'll once I get her email contact, I'm sure we have it somewhere.
okay.
I'll let you know, and we can try and reach out to her.
Okay, well, what was your experience of our meeting? Did you feel like it went well, or any improvements that I need to make? Just,
I like the ending with the breakout rooms. I thought that was, I think people really liked that
yeah,
practice and application.
yeah.
I thought, although Ben, I think his intentions were good. I felt like, to be honest, we went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with him and his story, but I think it was okay. I mean, it just I was having a hard time staying with the session myself, but I think others may have had a different take on it. That's just my candid, honest thought about that.
Okay.
So, but I thought overall it was good. Would have liked a little larger turnout. So.
Yeah, these things, they don't have a huge number. I think maybe at some point we may want to just evaluate if they're, I mean, obviously for the people who show up, they value it, but it's small number for the effort. So
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys want to address that. It happens with Espert as well.
Mhm.
And we went from the 2 post-training to the 1 to the anybody who's gone to a MI or Espert training. So yeah, so we just need to evaluate if it's of any value to the participants to do any more on that. Because it is a lot of effort and work.
Mhm.
I just wonder if you can bill Ben for that session.
Well, it was only about 25 minutes or half an hour.
Oh, geez, yeah.
But it was real,
It
that's
was
the
very
other thing.
real. It was a
Yeah.
real play. I mean, that
Yeah.
part was that was real for sure.
Mhm.
Well, and also people, when they're learning, they do that.
Yeah.
So for him, I know for a fact, he will take that with him
Oh yeah.
for a very long time. So,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
No, that was great,
Well-
Kathy. Thank you so much for doing this, offering this booster. I think like you said, I think we just continue to try and evolve. And gosh, at some point maybe we'll do a face-to-face training one of these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, maybe the boosters might be best done face to face. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, there's complications with that too. I mean, getting everybody together in a central location, and it's there's just more. You're more invested because you're actually using the resources to travel and stay and be involved.
Yeah, which I'm not into that much, but I think that there is value to it. I also think that I'm wondering if we could cover, because it's really supervision, right? It's supervision around a practice. So maybe we could cover it in the supervision training somehow as maybe a case example. Your folks just went to an MI training or an Espert training. They're motivated, they want to come back, they want to try it, but you're not seeing the outcome that you hope for. How are you going to address that as a clinical supervisor, something like that? And then they can take that knowledge and have a plan for providing booster sessions and post-training activities and something like that. That might be a way to do this. I don't really know, but it's something to think about.
I totally agree. And I think that there's a real hunger for this. And I think it could be incorporated. We kind of did a little bit when we did the Great Plains sort of overview, weaving the MI sort of the spirit and the sort of nature of MI into supervision, especially in the culturally adapted component, which I came across some great references in the tip 61 yesterday. I just by chance, page 145 to 153, it talks a lot about supervision with native populations. I thought it was great.
Which number is that? Which number?
Tip 61.
Oh, yeah.
It's the behavioral health overview, but it had some really great information.
145 to 153. It's actually, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, this is actually, they source the CSAT from 2009. And part of their discussion, but I just sort of stumbled across this. I was looking for something else, and I was like, "Wait a minute."
Cool.
But we
want to get that in the reference sheet then.
I think we should, because it talks about teacher, coach, mentor, and consultant, and that being part of the relationship. I just thought it was really, really good. And it touches on the competency, those competency, culturally competent supervisor, and it rattles off six things. And this could be a nice way to, and that's out of some studies by ANSYS and Landony from 01 and 08 respectively. So yeah, there's some.
I recognize those names.
Yes, I'm sure you do. I can't say that I do, but I just happened to stumble across this, Kathy, and I almost called you yesterday because I thought, man.
No, that's great. I appreciate that, and I'll take a look.
Yeah, they even have a section on. It goes beyond one. On 148 it says supervision dynamics, non-native supervisor with non-native supervisee, and then you go. It breaks it down. Two other dynamics: American Indian or Alaska Native supervisor with non-native supervisee, and American Indian or Alaska Native supervisor with native supervisee. So it gives you those 4 different perspectives.
I'll take a look at it and see where we can fit it into what's already there.
Yeah, do you have a copy of 61? If you don't have a hard copy, I know you can jump right on and get it PDF right off of the SAMHSA site. But
yeah, I have a copy.
Great.
I remember when we did MI in McKinleyville, we used that. And
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Much to our chagrin, we used that.
Well, yeah, it was, it's always good learning. It's always good to learn.
I think I was the only white guy in the room, so I was on my back foot a little bit. I wasn't expecting that response.
A white guy with Scandinavian roots, buddy.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
It's not just white; it's a white guy with Scandinavian roots.
Right. That's right. That's right. The Northern European roots. Yeah.
That's right. I understand.
I know. Oh boy. Again, we started this session with a laugh, and we're finishing with a laugh.
That's good.
I'm good to go. That's all I need. Okay. Kathy, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your knowledge.